UFC Fight Night St. Louis is this weekend, and the card is absolutely stacked. The main event, Derek Lewis versus Rodrigo Nascimento. I don't know why we're getting fat heavyweights, but at the end of the day, it's Derek Lewis. I like to watch Derek Lewis fight as long as it's not Jelton Almeida literally grinding him on the ground for 5 fucking rounds like the boring ass fighter he is. We got Joaquin Buckley got thrown in there as the co-main event. You got Carlos Solberg on the card. It's a sick card. A lot of good fights on this card, and not just like good names. There are some prospects on the card, some ranked fighters. There are also a lot of really fun stylistic matchups. Striker versus striker, grappler versus grappler. You're going to see just a lot of really, really fun matchups that are going to go one way or the other. I don't think we're getting many boring fights on this card. I think it's going to be electric. You got finishers, you got absolute masterclass fighters. It's going to be awesome. And I'm going to break down the whole card. We're going to start from the bottom, go all the way to the top, early prelim, all the way to the main event of Derek Lewis versus Rodrigo Nascimento. Went 11-2 on last week's card. And on this week's card, I'm going to try and go, 12-0, 13-0. We'll see how many fights there are. My overall record I want to say is, it's 119 and 68. So 119 correct, 68 incorrect. There have been a lot of fucking underdog wins this year too, so that's, 64% is not too bad there. So we're going to go right into the beginning when it's Veronica Hardy versus JJ Aldrich. Veronica Hardy's fucking hot, man. Like, she is really hot. Good for Dan Hardy. Now, I am going to pick Veronica Hardy to win this fight, and it's not just because she's hot. I just don't think JJ Aldrich is that good at all. I know she's fought better competition than Veronica Hardy, but Veronica Hardy has Dan Hardy really focusing on her camps. He's fully invested on trying to make her a better fighter, and I think that's going to actually help her out a lot. I think she has better fight IQ. I've seen a number of JJ Aldrich's fights, and they just don't go well. I don't think she's overly talented. Man, that was pretty brutal, but I just think Veronica Hardy, she's better at range. She can throw better kicks. I think she's going to point fight a 29-28 questionable decision here. Just a typical women's MMA fight where it's going to be in the air. You don't really know how to score it, and I think they're going to go with Veronica Hardy. I just think she's smarter overall, and I think she can be more diverse in the striking. I get it. JJ Aldrich is stronger, and she can always get the takedowns, hold her there, push the clinch up against the cage. But I just don't think she's that good, and I don't think that the intelligence factor's there. I'm taking high IQ into major significance into this fight, and I think Veronica Hardy has good fight IQ, and I think that she game plans really well. And I think Dan Hardy's going to be the one to help her get those wins. So I think Veronica Hardy's going to get this one done, and she is really fucking hot. So good for you, Dan Hardy. Kevin Gisette versus Jared Gooden. I want to take Jared Gooden here. I really do. Kevin Gisette's a very good point fighter, stays on the outside, throws the low kick, stays with the jab, has good range. But the reach is shorter here. And Jared Gooden is a pretty aggressive fighter. And we saw him get a big win against Wellington Turman. I want to go with Kevin Gisette. And I'm sorry, I want to go with Jared Gordon, but I'm going to go with Kevin Gisette. I think he's going to point fight his way to a 30-27 decision. I think Jared Gooden's going to have moments where he lands some good power shots, but ultimately he's going to get frustrated, and Kevin Gisette's really good at moving laterally and being able to stay at range and point fight. So I do think that's what's going to end up happening here. I'm going Kevin Gisette to win by a 30-27 unanimous decision. Charles Johnson versus Jake Hadley. We're going with the upset pick here. I'm going Charles Johnson. I think he's a really good fighter, honestly. I think he's very well-rounded. He's physically strong. He has some of the best takedown defense I've had the privilege of watching, especially in that flyweight division. Doesn't get taken down by anyone. He just absolutely neutralized Azat Maxim's game. And I think he moves very, very well. He's not a stationary striker where Jake Hadley's going to be able to land his hooks. I don't think that he's going to be able to get held down and subbed by Jake Hadley. I think Charles Johnson's going to end up frustrating Jake Hadley and winning. Just veteran presence, outstriking, being able to stuff takedowns, and just overall winning this fight. I'm going Charles Johnson to win this fight. 29-28 unanimous decision. I think Jake Hadley will have some moments in the first round, but ultimately Charles Johnson will turn that around and win this fight by decision. He might even get a finish, but I'm going to have him winning this fight by decision. But don't get me wrong. I have 3 decisions here. I think that this fight, Charles Johnson versus Jake Hadley, is going to be a very fun decision. 29-28, Charles Johnson is going to be the way to go. Trey Waters versus Billy Goff. I believe they fought before. We're going to take a quick look at Trey Waters' profile here. The site can be reached. Like I told you. I swear they fought before. They haven't. I'm wrong. Anyway, Trey Waters is a good, lanky striker. Billy Goff is good at getting takedowns. He's just, this might be one of those fights where the range is going to come into play significantly. And I think Trey Waters is going to be able to move enough to not get taken down, or at least stuff takedowns, land a knee, throw some good shots. And I think Trey Waters is going to win this fight by a second round knockout on Billy Goff. And I think you're going to see Billy Goff really blitzes early, tries to get some success, but is just struggling significantly against Trey Waters' length, reach. He's 6'5". Now, I get listed at 6'5", doesn't always mean they're 6'5" in the UFC. But this is a 7-inch height difference. It's a 5-inch reach difference. Now, I think Trey Waters is going to get this one done. I think he's going to get it done by knockout. I think Billy Goff is going to overshoot on a takedown, and Trey Waters is going to catch him with a right hand, sit him down, and end the fight by KO, TKO in round 2. So, Trey Waters, TKO, round 2. Tabitha Ricci's going to lose this fight. I'm going Tisha Pennington, formerly Tisha Torres, to win by unanimous decision, 30-27. Just getting her takedowns and really being able to grind out the fight. I think Tabitha Ricci's striking is really bad. Like, really, really bad. Has pillow fists. Not a great... I mean, when she wins fights, it's because she can get the fight to the ground, and she's not getting the wrestler in Tisha Torres to the ground, or Tisha Pennington. I think that while Tisha Pennington hasn't fought very much recently, and has lost a number of fights, I think her last 3 or something are losses. Or am I thinking of someone else? Maybe it was Jermaine Durandamy. No. So she lost to Kenzie Dern via split decision that she arguably won. She beat Angela Hill. She TKO'd Sam Hughes. She lost to Marina Rodriguez. Yeah, but like, Marina Rodriguez was able to just stay up and outstrike her. Tabitha Ricci's not going to be able to outstrike her. I'm going Tisha Pennington to win here by unanimous decision, 30-27, by mixing her takedowns, being more dominant on the ground, and then being able to stand on the feet and outstrike Tabitha Ricci on the feet. I think this is going to be as close to a masterclass as this fight can possibly get. I think Tisha Pennington is going to masterclass a 30-27 decision here. Esteban Ribovic wins this fight. I'm seeing a lot of people pick Terrence McKinney, and I get it. He's a great wrestler. He has a lot of power, but he has 1 round of cardio, and I think he's going to gas out after that first round. I think Esteban Ribovic has great survival skills. I think he's got a good chin. I think he is done enough on the ground to be able to survive. Camwella Kirk is obviously not a top-level lightweight. It's a stacked division, but he's very well-rounded. He has good jiu-jitsu, good takedowns, and Esteban Ribovic got taken down by Camwella Kirk, but he didn't get finished in that first round, and eventually Esteban Ribovic got back to his feet, and in round 2, ended up winning round 2 and round 3 to beat Camwella Kirk. I think Terrence McKinney can get Esteban Ribovic to the ground, and I think he's going to be able to threaten with submissions in the first round. But I don't think he's going to get the sub, and I think he's going to gas out in round 2, and Esteban Ribovic is going to start opening up punches, leg kicks, punches to the body, specifically hooks with that left hook, and I think he's going to end up opening those shots up top, and he's going to knock out Terrence McKinney at the end of round 2 with a flush shot. Terrence McKinney has been chinned recently. He's been chinned a couple of times. I get that McKinney's won his last 2 fights. Not up against the best competition, but he's won them. McKinney, if he doesn't get this fight done in the first round, he's not going to beat Ribovic by decision. He's not going to beat him in round 2 or 3, and that's why I think Ribovic is going to win this fight. I think he gets it done in round 2 or 3. I'm going late round 2 KO from Esteban Ribovic, and I think it's going to be a nasty one. Chase Hooper versus Slava Claus. Chase Hooper has improved so much. So much. He's got the reach on Slava. He's going to be able to throw kicks from range, but if he's trying to stay at range and not immediately get to the clinch, he's going to lose, and he's going to get body shot, TKO'd. I liked Slava Claus's ability to get up from Sadikov. I think Sadikov has tremendous wrestling. Now, granted, He does not have the jiu-jitsu skills and the submission threat that Chase Hooper has. He doesn't have the height that Chase Hooper has. But Slava almost got knocked out in that fight and still survived. I don't think Chase Hooper's knocking anyone out. I think we all know that. He did throw a high volume of strikes. He has good cardio, but I think Slava's going to be able to really bother him on the feet. Now, this fight goes one of two ways. Chase Hooper gets a quick masterclass submission, or Slava gets a TKO/KO by masterclassing Chase Hooper on the feet. Oh, man, what am I going to pick here? Everyone's picking Slava. And I really do think Slava's going to be able to keep this one on the feet and start landing those low kicks to the Chase Hooper leg that is right there to be kicked. Chase Hooper's going to get uncomfortable, start shooting takedowns. Slava's going to be hip to it. He's going to know it's there. Chase Hooper's got long limbs and can get the submission. But I think Slava's going to be able to get out of range, and he's going to be able to use the boxing. Now, the problem is, when you use the boxing, you come in the range of Chase Hooper. And he's going to be able to grab onto you and hold onto you, try and choke you out and take you down. I think Slava is going to beat up Chase Hooper in the boxing, and then Chase Hooper is going to latch up a sub somehow. I'm going Chase Hooper by submission in round 2. I think Slava is going to be winning this on the feet really badly, damaging Chase Hooper, land some really significant body shots, really good low kicks. But Chase Hooper, once he gets into boxing range, is going to know that he's going to be able to grab on to Slava, hold on to him, and I think he's going to get a bullshit submission after getting beat the fuck out of. So I'm going Chase Hooper by submission round 2 after getting the shit kicked out of him. I don't know if I like that pick, but I'm going with it. Rubeles de Spain versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. Rubeles de Spain is going to spark Waldo Cortez Acosta. Now, I get Waldo Cortez Acosta has a kind of powerful right hand, but his reach is 6 inches smaller, 3 inches shorter in height. Rubeles de Spain is not a, organized striker, we'll call it. But he has ridiculous power. His taekwondo is solid, and Waldo Cortez Acosta fucking sucks. I think he knows he's going to have to shoot takedowns, but I don't think he's going to be able to get in there. I think Rubeles de Spain is going to get another first-round knockout. Waldo Cortez Acosta almost lost to Arlovsky. I think that Rubeles de Spain is going to be able to knock out Waldo Cortez Acosta. Now, Waldo Cortez Acosta is going to shoot an insane double leg to start. I don't think he's going to end up getting it, and I think he's going to be in a spot where he's catching a knee from Rubeles de Spain and getting finished on the ground. So I'm going Rubeles de Spain. Round 1, knockout yet again. He will lose in his career. He will lose soon. Not going to beat a Waldo Cortez Acosta. Waldo Cortez Acosta absolutely is terrible. He was taunting Arlovsky as he was debatably losing that fight, and he won a questionable decision. Rubeles de Spain's getting this one done in the first round, guys. Sean Woodson versus Alex Caceres. Alex Caceres is a solid fighter, but he plays the game that Sean Woodson plays a little bit better. I think Sean Woodson's going to be able to outstrike Alex Caceres. Alex Caceres is getting to be 35. He just lost to Chikadze, and we saw how that went. Alex Caceres will make it a scrappy fight, but Sean Woodson's going to end up outclassing him to a 29-28, 30-27 decision where he just outpoints Alex Caceres using leg kicks, again, his body shots are really good, but I think he's going to use his jab really well, going to use leg kicks, land good body kicks, and Alex Caceres is going to miss a lot of shots, but he's going to start throwing a lot, so you're going to think he's more into it, but Sean Woodson's going to get this fight done by 30-27 or 29-28. You're going to see scorecards that go, there will be one round that's in the air. I think round 3 will be in the air, Caceres versus Woodson, but I think rounds 1 and 2, Sean Woodson's going to win this fight easily. Mateusz Rebecki versus Diego Ferreira. I really, really think Mateusz Rebecki is the future of this division. He's in his prime, but his reach is something to be nervous about, and he does have impeccable takedowns, like insane takedowns. But we saw some of the best grappling exchanges that we'll ever see again from Diego Ferreira versus Beneil Dariush. And I think Diego Ferreira has more punching power than Mateusz Rebecki. But I think Rebecki has incredible leg kicks. I think Fahea has a boxing stance that his leg is there to be chewed. And I think Rumbeski is going to throw so many good early leg kicks that it's going to make Fahea a lot weaker in his punches. It's going to make him a lot weaker in his takedown defense and his scrambling. And I think Mateusz Rumbeski is going to win this fight by a TKO in round 3 after chewing up Diego Fajea's legs. Weathering the storm. I think Fahea has a chance in this fight. I absolutely do. But I think Rumbeski's going to win this one. If I'm a betting man, which I will be this weekend, I am sprinkling some money on Diego Fajea because I absolutely think he has a chance. You know what? I'm going Diego Fajea. I think Diego Fajea is going to get it done. I think he's going to end up getting a knockout on Mateusz Rumbeski. Rumbeski has been training to get in a fight for a while. No, I'm going Rumbeski. I'm going Mateusz Rumbeski. He's going to win this fight. I just forgot that Diego Fajea took it on short notice. I don't like when guys take it on short notice. Diego Fajea is also 39. He does have more significant reach. I do think he has the more powerful punching. I do think he has great scrambles, but I think Rumbeski's a different kind of grappler than Dariush is. So I'm going with Rumbeski to chew up the legs early and end up getting a ground and pound TKO with elbows specifically in round 3. God, that's a way harder one to pick than the line shows. If you're a betting man, sprinkle a little bit on Fajea because it's worth it. Now, I almost picked another underdog in this fight. Alonzo Menefield versus Carlos Ulberg. I think Menefield has crazy power, and I think Ulberg's chin is a little bit questionable. But again, like I said earlier, I think the reason it was questionable was because he was exhausted against Kennedy and Nzechukwu. He hasn't lost a fight other than that. Alonzo Menefield has beaten Dustin Jacoby after getting completely outclassed but getting his knockdowns. And he also knocked out Jimmy Crute twice, or he subbed Jimmy Crute and knocked him out, or went to a draw. So, Jimmy Crute has no chin. Carlos Ulberg, I think, is going to be able to stay at range. The reach is similar, but the height is not. And I think Carlos Ulberg does a great job blasting low leg kicks, using his jab, throwing the hook behind it. And I think that's exactly how he's going to catch Alonzo Menefield. I think he's going to be able to kick his legs because that front leg is there to be kicked. And in city kickboxing, they really like to blast those low leg kicks. And I think Carlos Ulberg has great low leg kicks. I think he's going to be able to use his range with the jab. And you're going to see Alonzo Menefield overreach with the right hand. And nobody in the light heavyweight division that I can think of right now throws that better quick check hook than Carlos Ulberg. And I think that's how he's going to catch Alonzo Menefield in round 2. Alonzo Menefield gets knocked out by Carlos Ulberg. And the other thing is, city kickboxing has a lot of these fighters that are declining. Like Volk, one of the best fighters of all time. He may be on the Mount Rushmore. But he's 35 and he's declining. And we saw it. He got knocked out in his last 2 fights. He lost to Makhachev, kind of. But in between that, he ragdolled Yair, and losing to Makhachev by decision is nothing to be upset about. In one of the most competitive fights that he'll ever be in, nothing to be upset about. Izzy hasn't been fighting. They're focusing on these new up-and-coming guys. Dan Hooker's been injured, so they're really putting all their focus on Carlos Ulberg, and I think it's going to show. Round 1 knockout for Carlos Ulberg. Blasting low kicks, landing the jabs, getting Menefield frustrated. Menefield's going to start throwing the right hand, and Carlos Ulberg's going to catch him with the hook right behind the ear, wobble him with the equilibrium, and then finish him with ground and pound. First round KO, Carlos Ulberg. Joaquin Buckley versus Nursultan Ruziboev. This is going to be a fun fight. It's going to be a war. Lucas Tracy said this, and I actually really like his take here. This is Sean Strickland versus Abus Magomedov, but we have it at home. Ruziboev has a ton of first-round knockouts. He has a ton of finishing potential. Ton of first-round finishes because he's split in his last 10, 5 first-round submissions, 5 first-round knockouts. Joaquin Buckley just came off his best performance against the worst-looking Vicente Luque that we've seen. But Joaquin Buckley's in his home city of St. Louis. Nursultan Ruziboev has great finishing potential. But I think Joaquin Buckley has a lot of good durability, and I get he got knocked out by Kevin Holland 4 years ago. Since then, I can't remember the last time he's been finished. Let's go to Joaquin Buckley's record. So he knocked out Vicente Luque because Vicente Luque quit. He UD'd Alex Morono. He knocked out Andre Fialho. Welcome to the club. That Ruziboev hasn't joined yet. He lost by UD to Imavov, and he did get knocked out by Chris Curtis. So, and again, fucking ESPN's having a fucking wank. I'm going with Joaquin Buckley to win this fight by a round 2 KO. I think Nursultan Ruzaboyev has a ton of great finishing potential, but I don't think he's getting it done in round 1. And I think Joaquin Buckley's going to have the better gas tank in round 2. I think not being in that round 2 experience is really going to show a lot, like, for Joaquin Buckley. So I'm going with for Nursultan Ruzaboyev. I'm going round 2. Joaquin Buckley gets this fight done by, it's going to be a round 2 body kick, Joaquin Buckley knockout. That's what we're going. Round 2 body kick, Joaquin Buckley. So let's see if we fix this here. We have. So now we're going to the main event, and you're crazy if you're not taking Derek Lewis in this fight. Derek Lewis is going to knock out Rodrigo Nascimento in the first 2 rounds. I'm going to go round 1. I don't think Rodrigo Nascimento is that good. Let's go to his profile again. Let's see who he's beaten, because it's nobody good. Derek Lewis wins these kinds of fights, guys. Like, he wins the kinds of fights against Rodrigo Nascimento. So, Nascimento beat Montel Mays in a competitive decision. He split decisioned Alir Latifi. He probably lost to Tanner Boser, but got a split decision. He beat Alan Badeau, but he popped for steroids, so it's a no contest. And he got knocked out by Chris Daukaus. Want to know what Derek Lewis did to Chris Daukaus? Put him out fucking cold in a minute. Derek Lewis is going to win this fight by first round knockout, and the fans are going to rejoice. UFC St. Louis is a sick card. Don't miss it. A lot of finishes on this card. A lot of really good decisions going to be on this card as well. We're cleaning it out completely. Just to run through again who I have, because I have flip-flopped on a lot of these fights, and this is the kind of fight card that I like. It's going to be very, very competitive, but we're going Derek Lewis in the main event. We're going Joaquin Buckley in the co-main, Carlos Olberg, Mateusz Rombeski, this is close, Sean Woodson, Rebelis Despain, Chase Hooper, Esteban Ribovic, Tisha Pennington, Trey Waters, Charles Johnson, Kevin Gisette, Veronica Hardy. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy the content, please remember to like and subscribe. These are my predictions. Let's go St. Louis.